and again, especially on social media, like I said, content creators in particular doing outrageous things just to try and get a bigger reach. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like the things that used to kind of go viral, you know, the funny raw videos like on You've Been Framed, when you used to actually get money to send like funny clips in of that real life stuff, fun stuff. None of that, all of that, you put something that used to be on You've Been Framed up on YouTube, Jesus Christ, you get like 10 views these days. That you used to buy, like the disposable cameras, is that what they were called? Do you remember when you'd go on like a school trip or something and your mum would buy you one of those and you'd just like take loads of pictures of you and your friends? Like, I feel like there's a reason why they've become popular again. And how many times do we talk about and hear people talk about how our parents had this, this and this at this age, and then I'm just here, you know, with nothing. And I get it, like sometimes it can just feel like really deflating, but we've acknowledged that technology's changed massively. We've acknowledged that we have social media, which has affected a lot of stuff. We've acknowledged that things have become more expensive. We've acknowledged that our paychecks aren't really changing. So we need to acknowledge that our timelines are going to be different than our parents, and things may just take a little bit longer. Good morning, everybody. I hope we're all doing really well. So as you would have just seen, another morning before I start work, woke up, had my coffee on the balcony. It's such a nice day. It's blue skies. I think it's going to be around 30 degrees today, and it says on the weather forecast that it's going to be like this for the rest of the weekend. It's now a Thursday, and I do have Friday, Saturday and Sunday off. And yeah, the weather's saying it's looking really nice, so fingers crossed it does stay like that. Got a few things planned this weekend, which hopefully I'm going to bring you guys with me. So yeah, had my coffee on the balcony, favorite part of the day. And then I did my workout. It was my HIIT workout today and my stretch. So I actually just did it in the apartment. It's one of those where you can do anywhere. Like sometimes I will go down to the garage, or I used to obviously do it in the gym, but honestly I don't need any equipment or anything, so I just did it in the lounge today. And because it's turning into such a hot day, it was a really sweaty, good workout. I felt really good after. And then, yeah, as you would have seen, I then had my breakfast, which I had a bagel and peanut butter and some blueberries. I need to do a food shop, so I'm just using what I have at the moment. And obviously showered, washed my hair, and then again, it will be work time very, very soon. But yeah, the reason I am recapping is I actually wanted to touch upon kind of my morning and the way I kind of format my videos, which will lead me into the topic that I wanted to talk about today, which I was really thinking about. Like, I think about it a lot, honestly, and it pops up in conversations with friends, and I was thinking about it whilst I was having my morning coffee. And I absolutely love watching videos on YouTube. Like, I absolutely love YouTube. It's one of my favorite, it probably is my favorite platform, which is why I'd wanted to make YouTube videos for years, and I had actually dipped into it on and off, like literally way back. But you know what it's like when you're younger, you get a little bit embarrassed, you end up deleting the videos, or you just don't make another one. But yeah, it's my absolute favorite. And my favorite videos to watch, and I know it's not for everyone, but are the ones that are just so like authentic and raw. Like it kind of, I've always enjoyed those, like watching like days in my life when they're just so like just following them around, real like peaceful and calm to watch. But it really did stem from like coming out to Australia and just really loving like travel and travel vlogs, and my favorite ones are the ones that don't have like music playing over the top, and they literally just have the real life sounds that are going on in that moment of them filming. I absolutely love it. And I've started finding like loads of van life channels and stuff, and again, my absolute favorite ones are the ones where they don't put music on over the top. It's just showing the actual sounds that are happening there and then, and they're just so authentic, and I absolutely love it. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some creators that make like amazing ones with all the music over the top, real good like camera quality, and like I'm all here for that. I enjoy those too, but my favorite are the ones that, yeah, it's like they haven't even like really thought much about it. It's just like the camera's just following them around, and that's exactly like the vibe I want to give off on mine, which is why I don't like, you know, I keep it very like mostly unedited. And don't get me wrong, I love like messing around with like editing and content, and I just love making things, and I love making videos. So I have been experimenting a little, and I'm sure I will start adding a bit of like other like music, writing, that kind of stuff. But I try and keep it as raw and authentic as I can, because it's the videos I love, and I hope that you guys will love it too. But the reason I wanted to touch upon that is I feel like I know the world has always been hard and tough, but I do feel like, and I don't know whether it's because I'm living in a city as well, so I feel it more, but, and I know they say social media has played such a massive role into why this feels heightened so much right now, but the world just feels so fast paced, and it just feels like we're always looking for the next thing, and we're always putting extra pressure on ourselves as to why we are not in this place yet, why we haven't achieved this yet, and we're always comparing to maybe how our parents did stuff, how we see lives on social media, and everything is just so fast paced. And I know life has always been tough and hard, and I stand by that, I believe that, but I do, and I hate, you know, when everyone just copies what everyone else says, and they're like, oh, it's because of social media, but it truly will be because of social media as well as to why it feels so heightened. and also obviously adding to the expense of everything these days, everything just getting ridiculously more expensive and paychecks not really changing, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, I do believe social media has played a massive role into that, because everyone is always, in life, everyone is always looking for the next thing. Everyone's always looking for something better, whether it's like their job, a relationship, travel, you know, we're all guilty of it. You know, everyone is looking for the next best thing in real life. And you go onto social media and it's the same thing. Everyone is always looking to post, the best content, to get the bigger reach, to get a bigger following, to make more money. Everything that you see is just people looking to get and be the next best thing in real life. And then you switch on your phone and it's the same thing on social media, which is why I feel like a lot of people actually don't have social media these days, which I applaud you, but I actually love social media as well. I also think there are huge benefits from it. So I will never be one of those people that slag it off at all. I use it a lot. I'm using it now. And I think it's amazing to get certain messages across. In what I'm talking about now, it can also be a little bit damaging. So I feel like, as I said, you go onto social media and everyone is trying to make the best content. And if they're not trying to make the best content and be the next best thing, they're, you know, and it's just your daily, it's your friends, it's your family, they're just constantly posting maybe things that aren't quite really what's going on in their life, which is just like the achievements maybe they're achieving. So what I mean by that is because I'm all here for putting your highlights on social media. I do the same thing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that to an extent, and I stand by that, because I'm one of those people that I believe that it's up to you how you perceive what you see on social media. If someone's posting something, it is up to you to take that with a pinch of salt. I love using that expression, as you may have heard, but yeah, it's up to you to take it with a pinch of salt. And you know, guys, use your brains a little bit and understand that yes, that's what you're seeing, but it might not be all rainbows and sunshines in real life. I think it's up to us how we perceive something. So there's that. But at the same time, on social media, you are seeing constant updates of people's achievements, etc., which maybe in the past, when there wasn't as much social media, you wouldn't be as aware of this. So we're seeing friends and family constantly like posting all these things they're doing, which is great, but it is what it is. We're seeing that. We're then seeing content creators continuously trying to do outrageous things to get the biggest reach, the biggest following, the most money. And then in real life, we're also seeing people now, maybe because of this, well, not just because of social media, but that's definitely adding to it. And in real life, we're then seeing people again constantly putting extra pressure on themselves, mad at themselves because they don't have as good a job as they want, they're not making as much money as they want, this, that, and that, they're not in the relationship they want, or they're in a good relationship but they just think the grass is greener, kind of thing. And it's just constantly around us, and it just feels like it's getting worse and worse. And again, especially on social media, like I said, content creators in particular doing outrageous things just to try and get a bigger reach. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like the things that used to kind of go viral, you know, the funny raw videos like on You've Been Framed, when you used to actually get money to send like funny clips in of that real life stuff, fun stuff, none of that, all of that, you put something that used to be on You've Been Framed up on YouTube, Jesus Christ, you get like 10 views these days. Like, it's just changed so much, the content you see online, which is just affecting so much these days, that it's just crazy, and it's affecting the way we think, the way we see everything, the way we put so much pressure on ourselves, the way we're continuously raising the bar, which is great, but not to the extreme a lot of us do these days. Let's bring it back again. So back to what I said about when we used to watch You've Been Framed and you'd see all these raw video clips and it was hilarious, and that's what you would see online, that's how you'd go viral. And so the way I'm tying this all into my intro about talking about the way I form my videos is we don't see enough raw, authentic content online anymore. Like, we just don't. It's as simple as that. Our feeds are being full of all of these edited, outrageous content clips. And so I miss seeing that. I miss that a lot, because it makes you feel good when you see real footage that brings back a memory of maybe like your childhood or something like that. We don't see that anymore. Everything is just so fast paced, continuously like looking for the next big thing. And I don't see enough of videos anymore that just are calming, peaceful, relaxing, make you feel present, make time feel like it's going slower. Like, how many times do we say, Jesus Christ, where has the time gone? It's like, as you get older, it feels like the time gets faster and faster, which I know that's always been a thing, of course. But what if we could do things that make time feel slower? And those things are simply being more present and enjoying the little things rather than continuously looking for the next biggest thing, and putting all of that pressure on ourselves. And that is exactly why I love making the videos as I make them. And I'll purposely hold a clip for longer than maybe other creators would, and I have the actual sound of what was really going on in that moment over the top, because I want you to sit there and be present with it, and I want you to feel like you're almost there. Like, I want it to bring up memories. I want you to feel like you can imagine that feeling, and yeah, it just makes you feel present, it makes you feel at peace, and that's what I want you guys to feel from my videos. And I really feel like we don't have enough of that these days. Like, how many times do we watch back like, do you know, like the video camera footage of when we were younger, and we watch it back and it's like such a feel good feeling, and like we miss it so much. And that's because when we watch it back, it was really what was happening then. There's no edits over the top, there's no filters, you know. A lot of the time it's our parents catching us off guard, like we didn't even know we were being filmed, and it was genuinely how we were feeling and what we were doing in that moment. So when we watch it back, like, we can imagine being there and we can remember those memories, and it brings it all back. But how many times do we take videos now that are just kind of covered in filters? They're like clips of us on a night out where we weren't actually really enjoying it, but we quickly get a video of us like dancing, looking like we enjoy it. When we watch those back, we're not gonna feel anything because it wasn't real, it was fake. So like, yeah, like I wanna bring back that feel-good feeling when you're watching a video. You can imagine how you feel in that moment. There's no crazy music over the top, no crazy edits. It's just real and raw and authentic, and it makes time feel slower, and you can just imagine how you feel in that moment. In a world where there's so much just like constant this, that, this, just like everything so fast paced, and yeah, humongous amounts of pressure, I want my videos to feel like more of like an escape from that. Like, there's a reason why now, like, so many people, like, when they do trips and holidays, they're going out and they're buying like the Polaroid cameras, and what are those little cameras called that you used to buy, like the disposable cameras, is that what they were called? Do you remember when you'd go on like a school trip or something and your mum would buy you one of those, and you'd just like take loads of pictures of you and your friends? Like, I feel like there's a reason why they've become popular again, and I think like people obviously don't think too much into it. It's kind of like cool, like it looks vintage, like whatever. But I genuinely believe that actually, if we thought about it a little bit more, like there's more to it, and it goes back to what I was just saying. Like, these days we take pictures on our iPhone and you've got it on live, and you can just scan through and find like where you look the best, you know what I mean? Like, which is actually awesome. I do love that feature. So none of this is slating how much we've evolved at all. It's just, I guess, reminiscing and talking out loud, if any of you guys feel the same, and I'd love to have a discussion about it. But I think there's a reason deeper why those have become more popular. guys, it's one click, and whatever comes out in that moment is what comes out. That was what was happening right then, and that's the picture you've got, and that's what will, in the future, you'll look at and bring back all of those memories. And you remember, like, you'd almost forget what photos you took, and you'd be so excited to go and get them all, and you'd be looking through like, I don't even remember taking this, and it's just so much fun. And it's just one click, and it is what it is, and that's the photo. Whereas now with our iPhones, it's like you can just take so many pictures and you see them there and then, and you can scan through and live, and it makes you like obsess even more. And like, I believe it's what definitely contributes to people becoming like more of like a perfectionist, and like, no, we need to do it again, we need to keep trying until we get the best one. Again, it's like getting that best shot, which I am so guilty of. If Lucy's watching this, she's the one that we do photography together, and she takes pictures of me and stuff. She's watching this, she'll know I'm very guilty of that. But yeah, like, it's just like you have everything in front of you, and it makes you want more and more, and you want to get the better and the better shot, and it's never good enough. Whereas with those little cameras, one click, done. Like, that's it. You carry on with your day, you carry on enjoying yourself. And yeah, I just think, yeah, it's just an interesting topic to talk about, because I feel like we always use the expression the good old days, and we always think back to how things felt so much easier then. And obviously, like, we were kids, so obviously things were going to be easier. Like, we had parents to look after us, not as big of responsibilities, we were just here to have fun. So obviously there's an element of that, but I also do feel like it's because we ourselves are overcomplicating life and obviously, of course, social media, technology, everything is contributing towards that. But again, it's up to us to use our brains, and you know, we are the deciders of how we feel about things and how we perceive things. And I do believe that we are simply overcomplicating things for ourselves, when the reason we look back and think they were the good old days was because things were so much more simple. So what if we can try and make things a little bit more simple for ourselves now, just to make life that little bit nicer, that little bit more peaceful, that a little bit more wholesome? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if we just, of course there is that pressure of we have to work, we have to pay bills, but we can still make things a little bit more simple for us. And yeah, I think that's definitely something for us to think about. Like, we acknowledge that things have got more expensive these days. We definitely have acknowledged that. I don't hear people stop talking about it. I'm guilty of it too. We also acknowledge that our paychecks, for a lot of us, are not changing. They're not going up, they're not increasing. We all definitely have acknowledged that. I hear us all talk about it. So then, why are we not acknowledging that because of these things, our timelines may be slightly different to our parents? How many times do we talk about and hear people talk about how our parents had this, this, and this at this age, and then I'm just here, you know, with nothing? And I get it. Like, sometimes it can just feel like really deflating, but we've acknowledged that technology's changed massively. We've acknowledged that we have social media, which has affected a lot of stuff. We've acknowledged that things have become more expensive. We've acknowledged that our paychecks aren't really changing. So we need to acknowledge that our timelines are going to be different than our parents, and things may just take a little bit longer. So again, what if we tried to teach ourselves to enjoy the journey a little bit more, make life a little bit more simple for us, and just enjoy that journey? Just like chill out a little bit more, you know? And I feel like a lot of people do say to me that I live in a bit of a fairy fantasy world, which I probably do sometimes. But I do think that's because, like, when I was younger, like a lot of summer holidays and stuff, I would just spend like in my bedroom reading loads of books. I used to love reading like adventure books, and I'd spend a lot of time outdoors, like on my own. I lived around a lot of fields, so I do like a lot of walks in the fields. And yeah, I really from a young age got that sense of peace, and obviously a lot of that is like just luck and like parents working hard to be able to grow up in such a lovely place where there was so much peace. So of course I do think a lot of that is as to why I think as I do now, and why I sometimes might come across as living in a fantasy world. But do I live in a fantasy world? Because we talk about how, like I said, life was better back then when things were more simple. And that's just how I feel like I'm trying to live right now. Not all the time. I get caught up in it too. I love to travel. I love to be here, there. I like to go out for drinks on the weekend. I like things to be a bit exciting and crazy. Of course I do. You just look at my social media and you'll know that. But I also, on a daily, can live life very simple and feel really happy and content while still striving for more and still making progress in my life. So I guess the question is, am I the one living in a fantasy world, or have I just tried to keep some of the things that made me feel real good, you know, as a child back then, as we call the good old days? Have I just tried to keep some things from then that have led me to then feel like this, whilst living in a world which seems so fast paced, and still, you know, being in my job, still being able to keep up, but I've just kept elements of what made me feel so good and what made us all feel so good back then? And have you, the one that's always hustling, gotta hustle, gotta work every single day, you know, that mentality? Or maybe have you guys just got lost along the way and got lost in this crazy society that's like, we've constantly got to be looking for the next biggest thing, and like we can't just relax and drink our coffee, we've got to have our coffee on the go, you know, rather than just sit that little bit longer in the coffee shop. Little things like that. Food for thought. I don't know. Have maybe you just got a little bit lost along the way? I'm not sure, guys, but I know that you live, of course, in your body and your head, and you're gonna have that for the rest of your life. So I think it's really important to make it a nice place to be and as calming as you can. So am I crazy? I don't know. Or yeah, did you just get lost along the way? Trust me, I definitely feel like I lose myself from time to time and feel like everything's very overwhelming and I've got to strive for more and I'm not doing good enough, blah blah blah. But I work so hard to try and be present as much as I can and try and enjoy the little things like we used to. I think we can still do that whilst trying to build a life we always wanted, and yeah, whilst pushing for more. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm crazy. I know you see some massive business owners like, you gotta hustle, there's no sleep, and then you can relax after. I do get that. You know, it depends on your goals and your dreams, but even in a day like that, finding 10 minutes to drink your coffee in peace just makes time feel that little bit slower, since we're all complaining about time going so fast and complaining about prices of things, etc. So if we're complaining about that, then I think we should be looking at solutions and ways we can feel a little bit better. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my little morning coffee thoughts, and I'd love to know what you guys think. Am I crazy, or do you see where I'm coming from? And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll speak to you all soon.